Welcome once again to Castrol Activ Champions, and it's time for our Player of the Month. But we couldn't find a Player of the Month. We had to find two because they came from diverse paths, this Englishman and this Aussie, and they just came together and created magic for the Sunrisers. And so we have two Players of the Month, and they formed an unlikely combination, but they formed a thrilling combination. We're talking about David Warner, left-hander, Jonny Bairstow, right-hander, and between them demolishing attacks in the IPL. Why did I say they were an unlikely combination? Because there's a little bit of history behind them. The ill-tempered Ashes of 2017, and both had little issues around there. There was all this talk about Jonny Bairstow headbutting Cameron Bancroft. There was talk about David Warner going back from being the Reverend to being the Bull, creating trouble in South Africa, faced with a one-year ban. Bairstow, on the other hand, established as a keeper, suddenly finds that someone else is coming and usurping his position. Josh Buttler kept wickets for a while. Ben Foakes came in. There's three keepers. He's got to change his batting position. He had to go up to number 3. They were both very unsettled in life, in cricket, both outstanding players. And then at the auction, David Warner, Jonny Bairstow came together. No one quite knew what to expect. Would they talk to each other when they were going out to bat? Would they hug each other? Would they high-five each other? They did all that and much more. As in the 10 matches they played together, they made 1,019 runs together. They made 65% of all the runs that the Sunrisers scored. And I was privileged to watch some of those games. It was just thrilling to watch. They put on 3 century partnerships back to back, which has never happened before in the IPL. They then added on a 4th, but it was just the way the two were batting. Occasionally, Bairstow would go off, occasionally Warner would go off, and then as they got to a landmark, first they started high-fiving each other, then the hugs arrived, then the stories arrived, and we said, right, this is what the IPL does, right? It takes a hot-tempered Aussie, it takes a passionate Englishman, it puts them together, and it creates magic. They were fantastic for the Sunrisers. It was interesting too that below them was a slightly out of form Manish Pandey, an injured Kane Williamson, not quite at his best. Vijay Shankar just traded in from another franchise. Deepak Hooda and Yusuf Pathan not quite amongst the runs. These two not only scored the runs, but they also needed to score the runs. And as the IPL progressed, we discovered that the Warner Bairstow show was acting as the protector for the Sunrisers. Much like Castrol Activ's Actibonds protect your bike engine, whether it's running or off. Now, of course, Bairstow and Warner go their ways, don't they? There's a World Cup coming up. Warner is going to be leading the Australian Challenge right at the top of the order, left-handed. Bairstow is going to be leading the challenge, opening the batting for England right-handed. Are they going to be smiling at each other? Then there's an Ashes as well. Nothing gets more fiery and passionate than the Ashes. Will it be a bit like AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli, arrayed against each other but full of respect for each other, talking each other's skills up? Or will the old David Warner surface, Jonny Bairstow surface, and we'll say, right, this is what happens after the IPL gets over and the Ashes start. But while the IPL was on, it was great fun watching Warner and Bairstow together, and we're delighted that they are the Players of the Month in our series on Castrol Activ Champions.